Hey, good evening, everybody. Hope you're having a good day. And thank you guys for the subscribes. The subscribes. Thank you for the subscriptions. I got like 5 more subscriptions in like a week. So thank you, people out there. I appreciate it. I just like to put my thoughts out there. Um, some rambles and whatever. Um, so today's yap session, the main yap topic, I think I'm gonna decide it's gonna be what aliens are, but a common misconception or the same thing that people like to do like over and over again by just thinking that aliens are like demons or something. Um, no. Well, it's pretty sophisticated, I think, but aliens is anything that's not from Earth or not from a specific region on Earth. But everybody keeps doing this whole stereotypical like classic gray of we come in peace, take me to your leader, and it's like, yeah, that's pop culture, but I mean, like, what are aliens actually going to look like? You could say that it's something from like another dimension is an alien, but there is trillions of galaxies out there. To say, because there's people that still think that we're the only life forms. It's like the only life. That's statistically impossible. There is like probably billions of other planets that have life out there, and it's more often to be carbon based because based on some educational videos I've seen, you can get uh, what's it like silicon based life, except it's just not going to be as big and it's usually just going to stay the same size. But stuff that's carbon based has a lot more leeway, which is why carbon based, like us, which is probably is what happens like a lot and more often because the concept of convergent evolution, like the bats developing to fly, pterosaurs, and birds, or the dolphins being very similar shaped to sharks and ichthyosaurs and whatnot. So that's a convergent adaptation when two non closely related organisms develop very similar things. Like a lot of different mammal groups also develop like a elongated nose slash upper lip in order to grab taller branches better. So it happens everywhere, and basically, um, that probably transcends different planets as well. You'll probably get like, if there's something that works, then usually something does it. Like with chordates, which would be us, anything with the vertebral column, it has centralized calcium basically, which is essentially bones. But that's what helps give muscles more to push against. So that's what helps support a bigger body. So there's a lot of stuff that can happen similarly, but what I think, as somebody who really likes animals, is that aliens would basically just be looking the most like an alternate history of Earth. Basically, it would be a lot of different stuff that's yet also the same. Because sometimes you see a lot of similar stuff happen again. Um, and this is like a giant sum up of like all life on Earth. But I think it's really interesting. And if you want to talk about like the odds of having intelligent life, that's something that's pretty a lot more rare. But I do believe that it does happen. Like statistically, there's probably like millions with how many quadrillions of solar systems and galaxies, planets. The universe is like incomprehensibly big right now. Right now, I say, well, yeah, right now. um, yeah, it's just really cool to think about. But I mean, like, you get planets that are pretty cool. I love it when they do like speculative biology, like Pandora from Avatar, and um, well, I don't know if Avatar: The Last Airbender is on a different planet. It's just a cartoon, but because those also have the hybrids of just like uh, tiger dillos and sky bisons, dragons, and what's another one? Gorilla goats, I think. What was that one? Oh, I forgot its name, but it was the one from King Boomy's pet. And what's another one? Another alien planet. There's a lot of speculative things, but that are not highly known stuff that I see just on YouTube, and those are pretty interesting as well. But yeah, I mean, people keep trying to bring aliens, like aliens that are in this physical universe, as something that's supposed to be extra spiritual or supernatural, and it's like, well, no, not really. It's just other life forms on a different planet. It's not something that's you have to get religious about. I'm a Christian. I'm a evolutionary theist, I think is the official term. It's not something that you have to be religious about, because angels are beings that aren't comprehensible to us. That's why when people like Ezekiel try to describe them, they describe something that they aren't even comprehending seeing. So that's why there's like very interesting descriptions of them. But yeah, so angels are the spiritual beings that look like people and are a lot like people and kind of symbolize like powerful people, like how the giant one that showed up in the Old Testament. But if you're talking about like the cherubim, seraphim, those are not angels, but they're spiritual beings. But the whole term is called Elohim. And God is the Elohim of Elohim. And he is the original creator of everything. But yeah, so people keep saying aliens are like demons or something because they're like from a different realm or something. But if you're talking about like a literal aliens that are in the same universe and occupy the same space, it's not a demon, because demons are basically running around the earth, but just in the probably fifth dimension. You know, I was watching this guy called Zach Beal TV, and he was talking about like dimensions in one of his gameplays, and I was like, he said there was like 15 dimensions, and I was like, what? No. There's like 4, but then anything after 4 is like purely theoretical, because it's something that we can't really technically prove. But then again, it's like a matter of like what certain people deem as something that's proof or something as evidence. I love that guy. I love watching him play games. It's pretty fun. So no hate. He just got me in like a random spiel, goose chase or whatever, finding out about what they actually were, and it's like, well, anything beyond that, we can't really say, because it's usually based on mathematical theorems. It's pretty interesting to just get on tangents, I think. So this is a yapping channel, so I'll do different types of videos. I can do like my screen recordings of my silly little doodles, and then this one where I'm just like talking and yapping about whatever's on my mind, because like sometimes I just get really tired of people having the old information that's outdated or being wrong when they don't need to be, because we have the internet and we've had it for like 20 years. So, but you know, not gonna blame anybody for like still learning, but I mean, like, I just don't get why people don't look up stuff before making a claim. But yeah, like if there was a planet that had like life on it, and also like 2 moons or something, and like orbited its star like at a different pace, I wonder how the counter shading of all the animals would look, if that would be different. Like if the weather looks different for a long time, I wonder how the life cycles would be too, because that's a lot of fun things to look into when you're thinking about speculative biology. Because counter shading is what sea animals, or largely water going animals like the whales, sharks, crocodiles, penguins, most likely other extinct ones too, where they are darker on their back but then lighter, so that the belly blends in more with the lighter shade of the water when the sun is facing it, when you're looking at it from the top. But then when you're looking at the darker water from the bottom, the darker colored body. So that's why animals are shaped like that. I don't know if it would change that much. Probably not. I don't know, but it would be interesting, like if we had, or like if there was a ring around a planet. I think I heard briefly that there was like a ring back in like the Carboniferous, I think. If anybody sees this, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was in like the Carboniferous or some time where there was like a ring that was surrounding Earth, and it would have been pretty interesting to see, because some planets sometimes get rings from the orbit, like probably a lot of debris, like small meteors or something. I forgot, but that would have been pretty cool to see, especially with But yeah, alien planets are pretty cool. I'm coming up with like or I'm trying to come up with like a alien race, as in something that's actually interesting and not just a humanoid. Because Lord knows that happens everywhere. Wow. I don't know. That's kind of a specific gripe with me, where they're like, wow, it's an alien, except they look exactly like a person. So it's not really the most creative thing, but I mean, like, it's not the only thing that makes something good, but it's just not the most creative thing. But, you know, sometimes things happen the same way, but not like that. A few examples out there. Still, no hate. I just like new stuff. I like the speculative stuff, of stuff that's most likely to happen. Sometimes people do that today, of like the future of Earth, and like, what would that be like? So I don't know. I don't know if the population of Earth is probably going to cap out at 10 billion and then fluctuate from there. Because it is still rising a lot. India. So it was 7 billion, but now it's 8 billion and rising. So I'm not sure. Yeah. But yeah, with the stuff that I made, they're like these tall. They probably look like birds. I'll probably post some drawings later. They kind of look like birds, except just with no beak. And they have like a covering that's kind of hair-like and feather-like, because I'm trying to do something that happens most often. Because if you're going to have like a race that's going to be smart, it needs to be warm-blooded, because you need to have power for your brain in order to have that. And so it's a lot less likely for anything that's ectothermic, like crocodilians, lizards, turtles. But yeah, so like anything that's ectothermic or endothermic is going to have some sort of covering. Like us, we have our hair, and then with birds, they have feathers. And yeah, it's usually kind of like the same thing. It was like because hair, feathers, and scales all have a common origin, which would be the scales of the tetrapodomorphs way back, let's just say a while ago. So they're all have the same origin, but it's basically just like the birds did it in the feather way of keeping themselves warm, and then the mammals did it with the hair by having it be a bit more numerous, I think, since hair is really thin. It's pretty interesting, but anything that's going to be smart needs to have some sort of thing like that, whether it be in their ancestors or not. Ancestral traits. derived traits and whatnot. And so they're tall, of course, because what alien wouldn't be? Because, I mean, like, I'm making it for, like, entertainment purposes, so, of course, it's gonna be some stuff that happens the same. So it's like, yeah. My idea is that there's, like, one part of the universe that has, like, a higher concentration of energy. And the organisms in that galaxy, I'll just say galaxy for now, are able to use that a lot more efficiently. And that's me coming up with excuses to just have giant animals. So, but I think the law is you can have like a higher concentration of energy somewhere in the universe, but then in another spot there would have to be like a very low amount of energy in order for the entropy, I think, because I was learning about it in Chem 2, because a teacher likes to go on tangents sometimes, and I like that too, because I do too. But it's pretty interesting, because he was talking about something that I was theorizing as well. So, yeah, I got like 2 different places for the creatures that I've made up. Some of them are the cherubim, which are in the heavenly realm, but then some of them are in the same universe as us, so in the 3D universe, but in a different dimension. That's where I have different types of creatures. Cherubim, which basically represent all the animals of the earth, but then the aliens would have to be something that's completely different. Well, not completely, because, hence my last email. But yeah, like, aliens, people keep doing the wrong thing where they just, like, don't really think about it that much. I was like, oh, wow, another humanoid alien that happens to look just like a person. Excuse me. I don't know. Just a bit irritated by that one, but I like it when it's a bit creative. And then sometimes everybody always thinks that just because something is an alien, just that means that it has to be like super powerful or something. I mean, I know that I'm doing it because of like energy of the universe, but I mean, like, I'm pretty sure other creators haven't thought about it that much. It's a whole thing. I mean, it just depends on who you talk to. Like, talk to, anyways, yeah. I think my Yap battery for today is running out. My videos are probably going to be like 20 minutes on average, because I only talk for like a given amount of time. But it's interesting because there's just a lot of stuff to think about, and sometimes it can take your whole life to like develop a world that you're thinking about. Because when there's like a planet that shows up in a fantasy setting, they're always just like, oh, these are the Saiyans. And it's like, okay, what about Saiyans? And then they're just like, well, are we called the Earthians? I mean, they always do that equivalency all the time, where there's like not really too much detail about them. Like nothing really about like their regions or their history or their culture or how they do things. But I kind of like it when people get a bit more detail into it. Or like the Alteans, I think. That's something that, what's that, from Ultron? Or Voltron, I think? The mechs that come together. They're like, oh, they're called the Alteans. We gotta save Altea. Because the planet's called Altea. It's like, yeah, it's kind of vague. I mean, like, if there was things that were also intelligent, very intelligent, it probably wouldn't be so plain. But, that's probably just because the creators don't want to, like, put so much detail into it, because they just need to get the product out there. So, but yeah. Oh, so for my next hybrid of the water, I'm changing up like a lot of things. I'm getting like new animals. I'm changing the whole spiel. So I'll probably get a sketch, maybe tonight or tomorrow. But I'm definitely using the leopard seal as a base. I think that would be a pretty good idea. Yeah. So this is pretty fun. I kind of like making these hybrids, but it's just try not to get too argumentative, because we try to bring logic into these things, even though we're supposed to be only bringing probably like only a set amount of logic into these, because in reality you can't mix these animals together. But yeah, so I'd probably use a sea lion as a base, and then I'm adding in the short fin mako, so that it's very fast, dangerous, sharp teeth, strong bite, streamline, and seals, true seals, which I think goes in the family Phocaday. So Phocaday, the seals, smaller flippers, they can't walk as well as sea lions, because sea lions are in the Otaridae family, and those are the ones that have the big flippers, the ones that usually go and can do like that gallop, like fur seals, sea lions, saddle sea lion. Those are sea lions. Those are able to move fairly well, and they're very agile in the water. But seals, true seals like the Baikal seal or the hooded seal or the leopard seal, they can't move as well in the water, or sorry, not water. They can't move as well on land, like the elephant seal. Most seals like that, they usually do. They call it galumphing, where they just move like a fucking caterpillar or something. So those are how true seals are. And then there's Odobenidae, I think, for walruses. Those are in a different family, but they move. They're kind of like a mix between the two, because they got like flippers more similar to Otaridae sea lions, and they're able to also move fairly well on the ground. But when they're in the water, they actually move their hind fins side to side, just like true seals. So it's pretty interesting, because a lot of mammalian lineages have done like very different things. Because you got the cetaceans, which used their tail, and then eventually they got the tail flukes, and then they did up and down. But then seals and the Odobenidae, they move their hind legs side to side. So that's why if you mix the leopard seal and the sharks together, the swimming types work well, because they both do it side to side, as opposed to sea lions or cetaceans or otters. And otters also swim well, but they also swim like a river otter. They do an up and down undulation, just like cetaceans. So it's pretty intricate. So, but interestingly enough, the otters and seals, which are all pinnipeds, they're all on the caniform side of carnivora, so they are pretty closely related, but they swim in a different way. So it's really about congruency and how well each trait or action or behavior can complement each other. So I guess it doesn't really matter, like for these hybrid thing that I'm doing specifically, it doesn't really matter, I guess, how closely related they are, but I guess it matters how well they can complement each other. So I'll get a drawing out there soon. I'll try to do better with my online stuff, because that's the only part that I can post a video about. But yeah, I think so. What do I have? I have the leopard seal, and then the short fin mako shark, and then I have the bull shark, so that it can go in freshwater. And then I have the orca, just to add size to it. And yes, I know it does do up and down, but I'm gonna mix other animals that do side to side, just so I can have it be less of a problem. Because if there's only one animal that has like a fundamentally different way of swimming, it wouldn't be too much of an issue. So you got the leopard seal, and then you got Pontolis, which is related to the walrus. It's in the same family, the Odobenidae, and it was massive. Like, just about the same size as an elephant seal, like 4 or 5 tons. But it was predatory, and it was related to the walrus, bigger than the walrus. Its skull was like twice the length of like male walruses. But it didn't have tusks. It hunted, and it also did the side-to-side motion, so that also works swimming-wise. And with a strong bite to go along with the leopard seal and the shark. What else? Bull shark, yep. And what else should I do? Got the orca and the bull shark, yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5. I don't know if I'm going to do 7 or 5, because with my last hybrid I did 9. And I think 9 should be like a max. Just so that there isn't too many animals in there, because they like to bring up instinctual overstimulation. I don't know. Everybody always likes to sound smart. But yeah, I might do a 7 or 9, but yeah. Yep. So I'll probably post like another screen recording tomorrow. Maybe if I can. But I also have to study. Unfortunately, I have to study with biology, which is ironic, but it's such boring stuff. Fungi and protista. I don't know. You have to learn the fundamentals. Be boring, be as it may. Yeah. So I'll have to just get that video out of the way. Okay, and then study. Thank you again for people who like to see my yap stuff and look at my drawings and stuff like that. So hopefully I can work more on my online stuff. It's just a whole nother world, that online stuff. I would have to learn because I've just been doing the good old pencil and paper the whole time. But yeah, anyways, thank you again. So appreciate it. Hope you all have a good night.